When I go down to City Hall, to the City Council meeting, I do not intimidate the council members to get what I want done. I just put my foot up their ass, verbally. And it works every damn time. I don't know why Black Lives Matter movement thinks they can intimidate people to get what they want. Intimidation is an act of terrorism. And terrorism cannot be tolerated in this country. I don't care what color that you are. I don't care if you're pink. I don't care if you're from Venus or Mars. It will not be tolerated.
Just because a post online has thousands of shares or retweets doesn't mean it's accurate. That's why the Verify team is here to fact check what we see online to make sure we're getting the truth. Take this video, which has over 2 million views. It claims that the money you donate to Black Lives Matter goes directly to the DNC. The video was also shared by Candace Owens, a conservative commentator, and got thousands of retweets from that. So let's verify. Do BLM donations go to the Democratic National Committee? First, let's show you what has people so confused about this. If you go to the official Black Lives Matter website and click Donate, you're redirected to a portal for ActBlue, which lists itself as a registered charitable organization. We checked ActBlue on OpenSecrets.org, a site which tracks political spending. You'll see it's listed as giving a whole lot of money to Democratic politicians and just under $30 million to the DNC itself. To sort this all out, our Verify researchers dug into what ActBlue is. According to their About page, ActBlue is a non-profit online fundraising platform for progressive organizations, nonprofits, and, yes, Democratic candidates. Now let's transition a little bit and explain what's behind those ActBlue donations to Democratic candidates. You see, since ActBlue helps transfer political donations, it needs to file with the Federal Elections Commission. An FEC spokesperson explained the process to our Verify researchers. ActBlue was serving as a conduit to get your donation to a campaign. It's called an earmarked contribution. And FEC earmarking rules require that these conduits disclose their information as well. So all those DNC donations that say ActBlue really means that someone used ActBlue to donate to the DNC. And if you look for it on the FEC website, you'll find the actual donors' names as well. In a statement on Twitter, ActBlue called the claim going around a disinformation campaign. Quote, "This is entirely false. When you donate to Black Lives Matter through ActBlue charities, your donation goes to Black Lives Matter." As for Black Lives Matter, they tweeted this: "Debunk conspiracy theories won't stop us." And it's worth
many reasons why officers have to do their job and respect the law and abide by what they're sworn in to do.
First in line, LaToya Spikes and her daughter Morgan. LaToya says she is sympathizing with Rayshard Brooks' family and the officers involved with his.
With the lawlessness happening there. Over the weekend, APD responded to 2 shootings and an assault where someone's car was vandalized. Jones thinks it never should have gotten this far.
Had this happen in any other part of the city, that it would not have been allowed to escalate to this point.
Atlanta police told me they are aware of the situation there and have a plan to de-escalate things, though they wouldn't talk specifics. The mayor's office did not return calls for comment.
Safety concerns also partly fueling the officer shortage Atlanta police are now currently dealing with. Interim Police Chief Rodney Bryant said over the weekend that the department has been dealing with a higher number of officers calling out than usual. Many have turned their frustrations on police in the wake of Rayshard Brooks' death. Many on the force also on edge after the officers in the shooting were quickly charged by the district attorney.
Also shows up, confronts them, and the guard dog helping to save the business as those jokers took off. Police still looking for the robbers. And thank you for joining us for Fox 5 News.
Our deaths are going down.
While in Texas, new mandates after a surge in hospitalizations over the weekend. NBC's Morgan Chesky is there.
In an effort to curb the recent spike in cases, mandatory mask policies are now popping up in Dallas and other cities. Meanwhile, officials have shut down at least a dozen overcrowded bars, partially blaming them for spreading the virus.
With rising cases in hospitals in Arizona, nurses from Colorado now heading there to help.
They traveled from Phoenix to Colorado to help us, and so when the need arose, it was kind of a no-brainer.
A public health balancing act where finding footing. Larry Sanders, NBC News.
And that we start life on this equal footing. And then the people that work hard can get ahead and those sorts of things, but we should start life on an equal footing. And I long for that day.
There is one issue, however, where Cook appears to see eye to eye with the president, keeping corporate taxes low. What is the metric you think about in terms of your desire to be socially responsible and your fiduciary duty to keep basically paying as low taxes as possible?
Well, our responsibility is to pay what we owe, just plain and simple.
But as you think about it, paying what you owe is that's the standard. Every company does that. Is there a way in which the value proposition you've been talking about operates when it comes to paying taxes?
Well, you can see that we do a lot more than pay taxes. We turned the company upside down to help the world on COVID and donated all of that, hundreds of millions of dollars. And so I think my own view is you pay what you owe in taxes and then you give back to society. And Apple is clearly doing that.
COVID-19
retail stores and barbershops are back.
For me, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I have cabin fever.
Nelsie Perez was among the early shoppers at Old Navy's flagship.
We've been waiting for this since the moment we locked the doors.
For some offices, seismic changes.
So as we're walking through right now, our temperature is being scanned.
Thermal scanners now flag employees with potentially high temperatures.
My temperature is 97.1 currently.
For more screening, Scott Reckler, the CEO of RXR Realty, showed us how elevators read key cards to know what floor you're going to, and employee arrival times are staggered to limit how crowded they get.
This elevator knows exactly where we're going. It knows where we're going, and it only allows 4 people. So this is how the workplace will look for the foreseeable future. We call this the new abnormal. This period between when we have a vaccine and when we have to work like this, coexist with the coronavirus.
At the start of the crisis, we visited Manhattan's Westway Diner. Since then, business has been brutal.
We had to let go temporarily all of our employees, and we had to shut down a business that's been here for over 30 years.
Today, Pete Daphno set up tables outside.
Is this sustainable?
It's not sustainable at all. 4 tables aren't going to make a difference.
He wonders whether the state waited too long to reopen. Today, the governor defended the...
I didn't do anything. I didn't tell anyone. I let that man... He hanged himself in prison. I will have to learn to live with that. Somehow.
And hypertension and diabetes. Well, most counties do have testing sites. They often require you to drive up a barrier for those without transportation. And they have National Guard or security, discouraging those who don't trust the system. Dr. Guest says to truly tackle this virus, we are going to have to take a look at what is happening in each community and then get creative.
Intimidation is terrorism.